Discourse analysis and English language teaching. To understand the definition of teaching English, then we must first understand the definition of teaching. What is teaching? There are at least two approaches to determine what teaching is. First is virtual way. This method, specifically when used across a network, refers to the method of understanding meanings utilizing definition that have been saved on a computer. Using this method entails consulting internet dictionaries for definition. Second is ritual way. This is the process of comprehending definition by watching a teacher perform a sequence of actions that are routinely repeated in the classroom. This method entails monitoring what person who have the title of teacher do when instructing, noting the tasks and activities carried out, and then interpreting the duties and activities to vividly convey the purpose of instruction. How virtual way defines teaching? First is impart knowledge to or instruct someone as to how to do something at oxforddictionary.com. Second is the work that a teacher does in helping students to learn at collinsdictionary.com. The act or profession of person who impart knowledge or skill at dictionary.com. There are two things we can learn from definition. First is teaching is imparting knowledge or skills. Second is helping students to learn. Using the two things, the definition of teaching may be formulated this way. Teaching is to help students to learn something by imparting knowledge or skills. Ritual way defines teaching. The three main stages of how teachers generally teaches. First is pre-teaching or planning. What is pre-teaching? Pre-teaching refers to things that teachers do before imparting knowledge to a group of students or planning for teaching. Planning means to make a set of decisions about what to do and how to do something. Therefore, in pre-teaching, a teacher is usually required to plan two things. And second is while teaching or implementing. Refers to things that teachers do when imparting knowledge to a group of students. Third is post-teaching or evaluating, refers to things that teachers do after doing the process of imparting knowledge to a group of students or evaluating teaching. Evaluating means to make a judgment on the effectiveness of teaching. What teachers should do in pre-teaching to identify what to teach to succeed in identifying in what to teach, the teachers attempt to determine the type of teaching materials that will be used in the classroom. What is strongly suggested to do is a need analysis or NA. Why important is because we can know the type of teaching material suitable for a particular group of students. Formulate learning goals and objectives after the type of learning material identified. Prepare and sequence the materials that will be used to achieve the learning objective, and create syllabus and lesson plans. To identify how to teach, knowing how to teach refers to the process of identifying the most effective method used for teaching the pre-existing selected materials. The identification is made by conducting a situation analysis or SA. SA means the student's situation in terms of learning style and learning preference. The identification of the student's learning style and preference are used as the basis for determining types of methods, the activities and technique used in the classroom. What is while teaching? While teaching refers to things that teachers do when imparting knowledge to a group of students, referring to items in the lesson plan such as time allotment, teaching activities, or teaching methodology. Starting a lesson, presenting a lesson, and ending a lesson. Supplementary materials, textbooks, handout, and extra classwork. What is teaching method? Teaching method is that defined as the principle used for instruction which may cover decisions on teachers when giving lessons. How to encourage student participation in the classroom activities, and how to select and use teaching instrument. Teacher's method, which consists of teacher-centered active methods and student-centered methods. What is post-teaching? After delivering knowledge to a group of pupils, teachers engage in process known as post-teaching evaluating teaching. By evaluating, you can determine whether or not lesson is effective in this sense. Effective teaching refers to instruction that achieve the desired outcome in accordance with the predetermined course objective. Because of this stage is also referred to as the evaluation stage, during which teachers must assess how much of the provided material has been mastered by the student, how effectively the students are learning the material, and how effectively the students are achieving the set goals and objectives. What is English teaching? If the idea of teaching is then applied to the subject of teaching English, English language teaching can be defined as the process of imparting knowledge and skills of English to a group of students whose first language is not English through the use of three main stages, namely pre-teaching or planning, while teaching or giving instruction, and post-teaching or measuring learning outcomes. The relationship between discourse analysis and English language teaching. To understand this subtopic, we need to learn these two things. First is the trend in ALT or theoretical perspective, and second is the trend of ALT in Indonesia or factual perspective. The trend in ALT theoretical perspective, most English teachers tend to teach their students English in isolation with its use. As a result, the knowledge of context is lacking, and when it is time to practice the things they have learned in the classroom in real-life interaction, the students encounter difficulties to use the language socially appropriate and find it difficult to recognize the function of the utterance addressed by the native speaker of English. What is the theory teaching us? We discover that many English language learners are capable of speaking grammatically perfect English but struggle to communicate well. Such circumstances frequently result in pragmatic issues, difficulties understanding one another due to natural English, which are uncomfortable for their interlocutors. ALT trend in Indonesia or factual perspective, numerous English language learners in Indonesia run into the same issue that is described in the theory. This occurs when children are exposed to more English form input than English function input. Many English teachers in Indonesia have a focus on teaching English through drilling grammar rules and memorization of vocabulary. What should one do in light of the fact significant effort must be made to change instructor teaching perspective from textual grammatical to conceptual functional. It can begin by advising English teachers to take a course in discourse analysis since it can tell us how native English speakers engage and communicate with one another in real-world social situations. As a result, they should begin to consider teaching contextual functional English in addition to textual grammatical English. The combination of the two teaching philosophies is anticipated to help Indonesian students of English succeed in both understanding the language syntax and vocabulary and using it communicate effectively and organically. What is the relationship? For the reason from the perspective of the writer independent argument, discourse analysis and English language teaching are found to be tightly connected and inseparable. It is obviously seen from an indication that discourse analysis signifies language and language enable discourse analysis. Language is one method of communicating message, where discourse analysis can be used as a tool to discuss message being communicated in a nutshell. The relationship between discourse analysis and language is symbiotic, one in which one will not exist without the other. Thanks. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.